Today we are diving into a really major paradigm shift in corporate learning. For years, enterprise training was, you know what it was, mandatory slide decks, death by PowerPoint.
Oh, yeah, and then a quiz at the end to prove you remembered the definition.
Exactly. But now we're seeing this mass migration away from that sort of passive model. It's moving toward high-stakes, AI-powered, experiential practice.
Right. We're talking about employees, especially in sales and leadership, actually rehearsing their most critical conversations with a really sophisticated digital coach.
Yeah, and that's our mission for this deep dive, right?
Yeah.
To really isolate the energy behind this shift.
That's it. We're unpacking the recent, explosive momentum around one company in particular, Yoodli AI roleplays.
We're drawing a bunch of sources here, product announcements, customer case studies, and some pretty significant financial data.
Yeah, including a massive $40 million Series B round. So the goal is to understand not just what this looks like, but why huge corporations are, frankly, restructuring their entire enablement strategy around it.
Okay, so let's start there. How should we even think about this tech? Yoodli gets called the Grammarly for speech, which is a good starting point, I guess.
It's a useful anchor, yeah. But I agree. I think it kind of undersells the high-stakes enterprise side of it.
Right.
At its core, it's an AI-powered communication coach. It gives you private, totally judgment-free feedback on everything from a sales pitch to a hiring interview.
Right.
Even those really difficult leadership calls.
The goal is pretty ambitious.
It is. They say they want to help billions of people communicate with confidence. And the way to do that is through scale and safety.
Security.
For the enterprise, yeah. The value is that it removes all the awkwardness, all that high-stakes pressure from the early practice. It makes real behavioral change scalable.
And available instantly. Not waiting for your manager to find 30 minutes.
Exactly. When we talk about infinite reps, that's the game changer.
Okay, let's unpack this. If it's a coach, what's the user actually doing? It's not just reading a script over and over, is it?
No, not at all. It's about dynamic, two-way conversations. That's where the simulator comes in.
A simulator.
Yeah, Yoodli is basically an AI-powered role-play simulator. It lets you step into these highly customized scenarios. So think about rehearsing a discovery call where the prospect is, I don't know, hostile.
Or maybe handling objections in a negotiation.
Exactly. Or even a sensitive manager talk about performance. These are all things that traditional, LMS training just can't touch.
And they're things that are almost impossible to practice with a human manager who's got their own schedule and, let's be honest, their own biases about you.
Precisely. And after that practice session, the real value is the instant feedback, and it is incredibly granular.
Okay, so it's not just you did a good job.
No. It's not just about what you said. It's about how you said it.
Okay, walk us through those metrics. What does the AI actually clock?
So it analyzes your clarity, your confidence, the whole delivery. It looks at mechanical things like speaking speed, your pacing. Are you rushing?
Or droning on.
Right. But for me, the most insightful stuff comes from what the sources call cognitive load indicators.
Let's break that down. What does that mean for me, the user?
It's basically measuring when your brain is struggling to find the right words.
Okay.
So we're talking about the obvious tells, filler words,
I use, way too much.
We all do. But it also flags repetition of phrases or weak wordy usage. If you're rambling using 5 words when 2 would work, the AI points out that lack of conciseness. It shines a big light on the moments where you lose control of the flow.
So the second I stumble or say, the AI clocks it, transcribes it, and analyzes it.
It does, and it goes beyond just the raw data. The platform gives you these comprehensive performance reports, full transcripts, and then it shifts from just measuring to actually coaching. It offers personalized suggestions for how to improve, including AI-generated ideas for rephrasing things right on the spot.
That instant rephrasing is powerful. But let's go back to the privacy point, because that feels like a huge barrier. If I'm a salesperson, I need to fail to learn, but I really don't want my manager seeing me crash and burn 5 times in a row.
And that's the non-negotiable foundation for getting people to use it. The sources are really clear. User data is private. It's accessible only by the user unless they choose to share it.
So that's the psychological safety net.
That's it. You can fail 100 times until you nail the pitch with zero fear of social penalty or professional judgment.
Okay, but let me push back on that for a second. The goal is to prepare people for high-stakes situations, right? A tense negotiation, a tough conversation. Those do have social penalties. Does removing all the judgment from practice actually train you for the real world?
That's a really valid question. It gets back to the design philosophy. Yoodli's approach seems to be that you have to master the skills in private before you introduce the stress of a live situation. The AI focuses on mastering the mechanics, your clarity, your pacing, your logic, things that are almost impossible to learn when you're under pressure. Once those mechanics are solid, then a human coach can step in to focus on the emotional intelligence, the stress management.
So you separate skill acquisition from performance evaluation.
Yeah,
Master the building blocks first.
exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's talk about complexity. Real conversations are rarely one-on-one. You might be pitching a whole buying committee. Can the AI handle that?
Yes, and this is where it really moves from a simple coaching tool to a robust simulator. They have a feature for multi-persona role plays.
Multi-persona.
Yeah, so you can train for these complex scenarios by simulating multiple characters. You can set up a buying committee where, say, one persona is super technical, another is focused only on budget and is resistant.
The skeptic.
The skeptic, exactly. And the third is your internal champion who's on your side. The user has to adjust their language and tone on the fly to handle all of them in one conversation.
Okay, so the product is clearly sophisticated. Let's switch to the business side. I mean, this is a crowded AI space. How do we know this isn't just a feature someone else will build?
Well, the best indicator of market trust is always capital, right? And the financial news here is, it's massive.
Tell me.
The company just raised a $40 million Series B round led by WestBridge Capital.
40 million, wow.
And that brings their total funding to nearly $60 million. Just for perspective, their Series A was about $13.7 million.
So that's a huge step up.
It's a massive escalation. It shows that confidence isn't just in the idea of AI coaching anymore, it's in its proven ability to scale across an entire enterprise.
A $40 million vote of confidence. That says this isn't a pilot program, it's a core necessity. What were the growth metrics that justify that kind of money right now?
The sources paint a picture of just explosive adoption over the last year. Their revenue grew 900%. Their team size grew 300%. And almost 1 million people have already used the tool for everything from leadership feedback to sales pitches.
That kind of adoption just confirms that the old model, the human coaching model, it just can't keep up.
It can't scale. And that new capital is earmarked to accelerate things even more. The funding is going to expand the AI coaching, deepen the analytics, and really support growth in GTM enablement.
Let's define that. GPM enablement, we're talking about getting sales teams ready to execute faster.
Absolutely. Making sure every seller is consistent, on message, and competent before they're in front of a real prospect. And you can see that in who's already betting on this.
Right, the customer list. Who's on it?
It's influential. You've got the big tech players, Google, Snowflake, RingCentral, Databricks. But what's maybe more telling is the adoption by the big training institutions.
Like who?
Sandler Sales, LHH, Toastmasters, Dale Carnegie, Korn Ferry. When the very organizations that basically defined human-centric coaching for decades adopt an AI model.
That's a huge signal.
It's the clearest signal of a real methodological shift.
Okay, that list is incredible validation. So let's focus on the impact. We know who is using it, but what are the measurable results? The platform's whole belief is that the experiential learning is better than the what.
And they're moving KPIs that executives really care about. Efficiency, time savings, readiness. We have some quantified examples.
Give us the numbers that pop.
Okay, Snowflake. They saved over 1,200 hours of manager coaching time per quarter.
200 hours.
Per quarter. By offloading that repetitive pitch practice to the AI, that's time frontline managers get back to focus on strategy and pipeline, not just remedial practice.
That's huge leverage for management.
It is. And then there's Google Cloud. They used Yoodli to roll out a new go-to-market pitch certification to more than 15,000 employees.
15,000.
And they hit a 92% customer satisfaction score on that. And then you have a company like Harness, which cut its sales training review time by 75%. This isn't just training, it's turning enablement from a cost center into a measurable revenue engine.
So this has to be integrated into the rest of the tech stack, right?
Yeah.
What does this mean for strategic partnerships?
They're becoming foundational. A key one is their partnership with SAP. They're working with SAP to bring AI-driven skill development to professionals, supporting SAP's goal to train 12 million people in AI skills by 2030.
12 million. That's a massive scale.
It underscores that communication about AI is now seen as a core, measurable skill itself.
What about getting this tech bought and paid for?
Yeah.
I mean, procurement could be a huge roadblock.
They're tackling that head-on by being on the Google Cloud Marketplace. This is a big deal because companies with committed Google Cloud spend can just buy Yoodli and have it count toward that commitment.
So it removes a ton of the friction.
A ton. And they also stress it ensures enterprise-grade security. They're SOC 2, Type 2 certified, GDPR compliant, which you have to be.
Okay, let's shift gears. This is where the real insights are. The field reports. We've heard the wins, the funding. What are the hot takes and the hard lessons from enablement leaders who've actually rolled this out?
Right, this is where we get past the press release. The feedback really centers on a couple of key philosophies. First, that the future of durable skills is experiential. The mindset has to be train like an athlete, sell like a pro.
So you build muscle memory through practice, not by watching videos.
Exactly. If a company is still just delivering content for communication skills, they're fundamentally misunderstanding how people actually learn complex social skills.
It's a category shift, not a feature upgrade.
Which leads to the second hot take. Good is not good enough. You have to treat AI role plays as a serious, best-in-class category. It can't just be a bolt-on feature from your CRM or call recorder.
You need the most sophisticated AI, period.
If you're training revenue teams, yes.
Okay, so what are the big mistakes to avoid? The sources mentioned a holy trinity of mistakes.
These are the practical pitfalls. Number 1, failing to anchor the AI practice to relevant customer references. For example, your training has to be tied to the certified pitch that Google used to train its 15,000 sellers.
So it has to be benchmarked against proven success. You can't train in a vacuum.
Exactly. Number 2, ignoring the broader integration strategy. It can't just live in your LMS. It has to connect to the CRM, HRIS, Slack, your call recording tools. If it's not integrated, people won't use it.
And number 3,
Skipping the testing phase. You have to run a real proof of concept, a POC, to test the vendor's conversational AI before you sign. Don't buy on the promise. Test its ability to handle complex, unexpected conversations.
that's all very practical advice.
Mm.
But what are the challenges they're still facing in the market?
Well, there are two main hurdles. First, the operational challenge is connecting the dots from using the tool all the way to revenue. Moving from utilization to actual skill lift, then to better performance on real calls, and finally to a measurable revenue impact. That whole chain takes a lot of cross-functional work. It's not a switch you just flip.
And what about the baggage from older, clunkier tech?
Absolutely. The industry is still early, and a lot of teams got burned by laggy call recording and clunky coaching tech back in, 2020, 2021. So they're fighting this first impression that AI coaching doesn't really work.
And I imagine you need buy-in from the top.
It's crucial. Top-down evangelism is everything. If the chief revenue officer still has an old-school, dismissive view of role plays, the whole thing will stall. You need that executive buy-in.
Okay, let's bring this all home for everyone listening. This deep dive has shown us that AI-powered experiential learning is it's rapidly moving from a niche thing to an enterprise must-have.
Right, and it's led by companies like Yoodli.
The huge $40 million investment validates the entire category.
Yeah.
And the customer story-saving managers 1,200 hours, certifying thousands of employees, they show clear, quantifiable impact.
It's really the final frontier of soft skills becoming hard data. Communication, which we always thought of as intangible, is now a data-driven, quantifiable, and infinitely scalable metric. It's tied directly to business results.
So we'll leave you with this thought. We've seen that AI can now quantify the how of your communication, your pacing, clarity, filler words. This data is now being tied directly to revenue.
So if the mechanics of professional conversation are now measurable and coachable at scale, how long until every crucial professional conversation, I mean, not just sales, but manager feedback, quarterly reviews, even hiring interviews, how long until all of those become fully reliant on AI-driven performance metrics?
It's something to consider as you prepare for your next critical interaction.